Streaming cyberspace into your place, sanctioned by the Red Light Racing League from New Hampshire Motor Speedways. It's the Virtual Grip Network's Live As It Happens 12th round coverage of the Skitter Creek SK Modified Series. It's Season 14. Once may be luck, twice might be a coincidence, 3 times is a dynasty. 8 races are all that separate Eric Stout from dynastic status. With a belt already notched with the Season 12 and 13 championship, time is running out for Stout's competition to yank that cummerbund from around his waist to leave the 2-time champ stumbling with his trousers around his ankles. Like a dream after a morning yawn, hope of pantsing trout continues to fade, but a rookie's potential and a former champ's pedigree keeps the image of seeing Stout in his Fruit of the Looms, well, still a vivid one. Yes, freshman Ethan the Mountain Troutman and Season 10 champ Jeff sits second and third in the points and remain within striking distance of the driver known as Teacup. So pull the lever on the lazy boy and settle in for the simulated short track racing action that's about to stream your way. Hey, a warm Granite State, hello and welcome. On this Thursday night, it's August 21st, 2025. The institution, J.R. Shepard, joins yours truly, Bill Soupson. Take a breath. Hi, up in the VGN broadcast booth to bring you our Words Eye View replay. Ryan Seneker, turning the knobs, pushing the sliders. All right, JR, this place is a little bigger than what we're usually used to going to. What do you think we're going to look for?
Yeah, you're correct, Soup. New Hampshire, it's just a little over a mile in length, but this place has very little banking in the corners. Only about 2 degrees of banking at the bottom. Only goes up to 7 degrees on that top side, but from inside the cars, it will actually feel like the banking is going in the opposite direction. Most of that's going to be from weight transfer in the corners. Now, that weight transfer will be a challenge for these drivers tonight because what it typically leads to is the car getting tight in the center of the corner and then loose on exit as you apply that throttle. These drivers tonight, they're in that Tour mod, which has significantly more horsepower. You have to be gentle on that throttle pedal here tonight if you want to make it through. Because of that, I do expect the middle of the track to be the preferred groove, but Soup, you're going to have to use that inside line to make passes, and I think that means we will see some really tight side-by-side racing here tonight.
Since the track's a little bigger, lap times are a little longer, which means we're not going to go the usual distance to the 100 laps. We're going to shorten up to only 60 laps here on this bigger racetrack. We'll talk to JR. They are allowed pit stops, though. I wonder if that's going to be a factor. Let's take a quick look at the points. Now, you look at the top 4 guys. Those guys all have win. Stout has 4 of them. Ethan the Mountain Troutman, he's got 1. Jeff Aho picked up 1 as well. And then Chad Alcaraz has a couple. Now, in 5th, Josh Granny Hips Buckley. He doesn't have any, but he is the only driver here tonight who has on his resume a career win in a modified at New Hampshire. So maybe he can use a little bit of past luck to see if he can bring that over. Talk about a guy who's been hot. How about Bradley Steffen? Podiums, 4 out of his last 5 races. 3 of them were runner-up positions. Pair of rookies are next, Bill Benedict and Devin Visna. Benedict does have a win, but Visna has been very hot of late. Rob Higgins has a lot of experience here, racing 6 out of the possible 7 times they've come to this place. 5 out of the possible 6 times they've come here. And then we wrap up with Kenny Allen. Now, Kenny has moved past his son, Luke. Neither of the Allens are here today, so maybe they're off having vacation. They're probably watching right now. If they're in Vegas, hope you're having a good time. Stop the gambling and watch this and then go back out and hit those machines. Of course, not Luke Logan Allen. Send him over to Circus. With that said, qualifying is all done, which means we're going to be able to give you the starting grid right now. Let's give it to you. You know what? We can't do it quite yet. We'd like to thank all of you for watching. Again, this is round number 12. 1 race here tonight. Later on this season, we're going to have what they like to call a twin race coming up. We tried one of those earlier. It didn't quite work right, so it was a single race. But we have a twin coming up, but not a whole lot of races left for these guys to run down. Eric Teapot Stout, who is your points leader. JR, pit stops, something that can happen tonight?
Oh, definitely. I mean, this is a track it's going to be a little difficult to pass on, but you can make passes, and I do think that tires will be a difference, and they do have that set in the pit. So I do expect some strategy to be played and some drivers to make some moves through the field if we get a timely caution.
And these guys are pretty good of late of getting all the way through without having. In fact, we've gone wire-to-wire green flags for quite a while now. I believe we can go to the grid now. Now we can call it up. All right. Now remember, this grid is based on the qualifying time. Look at this. He's been getting faster and faster as the season goes on. We're talking about the number 48 of Andy Lewis. It's out there in that number 48 machine. He's going to be inside of Brian Bianchi.
Yeah, rolling off in third place tonight, we got Devin Visnaw on the outside. Points leader, Eric Stout.
There we go. We see him down there. And then in fifth and sixth is going to be Bill Benedict and the man who has the only career win here, Josh Buckley.
Next row, we got a couple of winners this season. Jeff Aho will roll off in seventh. Eighth place, Ethan Troutman.
A two-time winner is Chad Alcaraz. Watch out for Glenn Jameson. It's only a matter of time before he gets up there and surprises us. He'll be starting in 10th.
Inside row 6, we got Lewis Flowers, and outside the 71 of Fred Leclerc.
In the Baker's dozen spot is Bradley Steffen. He's flanked by Rob Higgins.
Rolling off in 15th, we got Brandon Feeney. Outside in 16th, Mike Tasharu, sorry.
In the familiar Winn-Dixie 60 is Brian Neff. Outside of him is Kevin Alicia. Good to see Kevin back.
Back in row 10, inside we got Bob Higgins, outside Chris Hazlip, and rolling off tail of the field tonight will be 21st spot, Bruce Pearson.
All right, a big track here. I'm not sure if we're going to go around if we have a parade lap here or if it's just a pace lap and we get going. We'll see how. Usually a mile, I think we'll go around twice. We'll see if the beautiful and perfectly mesmerizing Josie Kirkland takes that car down pit lane, or if she's going to bring us around one more time. Nope, she's had enough. Turns over control to the front row. They wait for the green flag. They wait. Gather up the chickens, hey, covering on the cows because the horses are out of the barn. We got a drag race down into the first corner. That is Andy Lewis on the inside. On the outside, looking at the momentum there, that is Bianchi. Brian Bianchi with good momentum off of 2.
Yeah, Brian did exactly what he needed to do. That outside is going to be key here. It is the preferred position when you are side by side, and you see right behind him the next car in line, Eric Stout. He followed him through.
Stout took a peek to the inside. Thought maybe he had visions of leading the first lap. Not going to happen. Give that first lap lead to Bianchi. We got ourselves a caution. I'm looking at, it's the Lipper, Chris Hazlett with a self-spin. Oh, my goodness. Not going to be able to bury him in a Jewish cemetery. He just got tattooed. Watch, this is frightening. If I'm looking at the right replay, I think it's a self-spin. Here we go. This hurts. Oh, not in slow motion. It just makes it all the more painful.
Yeah, he's definitely wishing that those barrels were filled with water instead of some type of rock or cement. But yeah, that was not comfortable at all. But you can see from the replay here. So this is something we talked about in the opening. We do say the middle of the track, maybe that little bit higher line is the preferred groove to be in. But these cars, they're known to be a little bit tight through the center of the corner. You put wheel into it, and like I said, we're driving the Tour Modified tonight, so we got more horsepower. You start to push a little bit, get on that throttle, and all of a sudden the rear end steps out on you, and that's exactly what Chris experienced there.
So, JR, of course, you have a lot of experience in anything, so nothing is really difficult, but for someone that doesn't have a lot of experience, I would think that the Tour mods would be a little more of a handful than the SK Modifieds, yes?
Absolutely. Yeah, with the SKs, you're going to use the brake a little bit at most of the tracks, but not a ton. But when you get into these Tour Modifieds, you're going to have to work that brake. These things carry a lot of speed, especially on a track like this. And then when you get to that corner, like I talked about, the handling characteristics are way different than an SK. The car is going to get tight to the center of the corner. You apply that throttle, it gets that push loose condition, and for drivers that don't have a whole lot of experience, it's something you really have to anticipate, because in the simulator you don't have that seat of the pants feel like you do in real life. You can't tell when that car is starting to come around on you always, so really something you got to anticipate, and it comes with experience.
Folks, I try to ask questions on behalf of you, but also I try to learn a little bit myself, so I'm going to drill down a little bit on what JR just said. JR, when it comes to braking, is it a gentle braking or is it a stab? I like to stab it to get my car to bite. Am I doing it wrong?
It depends on what you want to do. So there are some tricks to that, but definitely if you're trying to tighten that car up a little bit, you've got the front brake bias to the front. You can stab that brake to get it to push a little bit in the corner. You can do the exact opposite if you dial rear brake in the car. You can stab it and get the car a little bit loose on corner entry. Now, if you got a neutral, very good handling car on corner entry, you don't want to do either of those things. You want that car to kind of float in a little bit and be gentler with that brake application. But there's a number of ways you can do it. It's different at every track, and it changes, like I said, with the handling of that race car. So you got to be able to adapt to what you have.
They race fixed setups, but is the brake bias something that they can adjust? And if so, can they do it during the race in car?
Absolutely. So that is the one adjustment that you have with a fixed setup, is that you can move that brake bias around. So I definitely encourage these drivers, if they're not already doing it, or those watching at home, to give that a try, because it will change the handling characteristics of that car and can help you throughout the race.
Interesting that iRacing left that option open to the drivers. You would think they wouldn't, but no, we appreciate that. Okay, we're going to go green here. We're going to see if we can do better this time. We'll be working lap number 6. Bianchi still on the inside. I guess that's not... You know, you get to choose your lane, I believe, in this series. I'm surprised that Bianchi is on the inside. Let's see how it plays out. Stout's going to be first across the line. They go down into the corner. Let's see if that outside line prevails. Look at it drive away through 1 and 2, like my partner said.
Yeah, it absolutely does. I know Bianchi's going to fight back here, and he's got a shot, but with the way that this series is, we don't go on the leader, we go on green, and Eric was able to get a better jump on that, which gave him an even further advantage being on that outside.
And I apologize, I don't really know, maybe JR can tell me if he knows if the leader actually does get to choose his lane. It looks like he's going to get the credit for leading the lap is Teapot.
Yeah, he's definitely going to get this, but one of the drivers you talked about, he has a win here, I guess, in the Tour Modified Series. Yep. That's Josh Buckley. Look at him. He's coming hard in 3rd place. This is the highest I think we ever see him run this early in a race, which is great news for him, but bad news for everybody else.
All right, I'm going to ask another silly question. Correct me if I'm wrong. Looks like this. The speeds are a little higher. Is there any draft at all, or that's really not an issue?
There is a draft in these cars. At the end of the day, you're still going to have some momentum up out of the corner, more so than the driver in front of you. But the draft will come into play here. You can slingshot a little bit down the straightaways. But we just kind of saw it there with Andy Lewis on the inside of Buckley. He got that run, but it's not enough of a run to complete that pass before you get to the corner. And now he's stuck side by side, fighting hard on the bottom.
Remember, Lewis was your pole sitter, and he lost that spot. He's fallen back a little bit. Let's look at the 23 now. This is rookie Devin Visna. He's going to try to the inside. He gets a good run. He gets a half a car length now on Lewis, but again, the outside line seems to prevail.
It does. It's going to be tough tonight. It's going to get better as the tires wear and these drivers are able to move around a little bit. But it's definitely going to be tough, and you're probably going to see some of that Nerf bar on the side pushing that driver up a little bit. We see Bill Benedict getting a little bit loose underneath Ethan there coming off the corners, and Jeff Aho's going to try to capitalize on it.
Aho racing the outside there, trying to roll around the top. Oh, getting very loose was Benedict. I thought he was going to spin right up into Aho. Let's stay on this battle. Aho tries to work the top. Sitting 3rd in the points right now. Benedict has a win. Go ahead.
Yeah, we got one car around into turn 3. A caution does come out, but yeah, that is going to be the 40 of Rob Higgins, and you can see the damage he's got to that left front suspension. I did not see what initiated that, but he was turned around backwards on the entry to turn 3 here. We'll get a replay.
Well, either he comes up or Eric Wildflowers comes down on him. Oh, we're going to look on top.
Yeah, and this is a little bit of a product, so this is something that happens at New Hampshire, but it's a product of what we talked about being so hard to pass on the inside. That inside driver, when they have that big of a run, is going to try to push the limits a little bit and run more in the middle of the track instead of down low. Lewis expected Higgins to be a little bit lower, so he turned in normal where the normal line is, but it's ultimately 2 drivers going for the same spot. I feel very bad for Higgins. He thought from inside his car that he had enough clearance to be able to do that line, but there just wasn't.
No fast repairs here in the Red Light Racing League. This is big boy racing. All right, let me see if I can put the pressure on my director. Are you able to find Brian Bianchi? Is he somebody we might be able to talk to as the director will hunt? Brian, it's Soup up here in the booth. Can you talk to us?
can.
Hey, I want to talk about the restart. In this series, do you get to choose your line? And if so, you chose the inside.
Yeah, I really thought about taking the top, but I didn't want to give Eric the inside. But I think the outside might be the way to go on these restarts.
I'm going to stay with you here for a minute, and we'll see what Stout does. Looks like he's going up top. Looks like he's going to put you down low again. Is that what you think he's going to do?
If I was him, that's what I would do. Yeah, let's see what he does. I think he's giving me a hint. Oh, yeah, he's going top.
How's the car feel?
Car's really good. I didn't get a lot of practice, but car feels good. We run well here, so.
Go the distance, or do you think tires are going to be something you do?
I mean, if we get a caution right, maybe we'll take them, but I'll probably go to distance.
All right, good luck.
Thanks, guys.
Interesting, JR. He chose the inside. Didn't want to give it to Stout.
Yeah, and it's difficult when you're that leader. You never know the right decision to make, but you try to judge it based on the guys you're racing around. We've seen Stout in the past take a non-preferred line on that inside and make it work because of the way he's able to get corner entry, and I know that was playing in Brian's mind. That's why he did that, but now he's going to have to make that inside line work. He's stuck down there.
The driver to watch is the blue and white number 23, second outside of row 2. Watch him. That is Brian Visna. He's really, I think, in the best position right now. Would not be surprised if he be able to follow Stout around, get some momentum, and see if he can pin Bianchi down. We might have a race for second between those guys. All right, let's see how it plays out. Buckley back there in the 13 watching from the inside of row 2. Here we go. Working lap number 14 as they come around. The top gets a good jump. Now watch the 23. Can he pin the 14 down? Boy, look at the drive through 1 and 2. Oh, and he gets into Bianchi. Bianchi comes up and he loops it in front of everybody, spins up into the wall. Everyone's going to get by.
Oh yeah, we'll get a look at that replay. This is going to be a tough one for Brian here, but he was doing everything he could. Visna obviously had a huge run on the outside here. He's running exactly where Stout is ahead of him, and Bianchi's trying to get a run. He comes up and makes contact. In return, that got him loose, and he had to check up, and the cars behind him just weren't able to check up in time, and that's ultimately what spun him up the track and into that outside wall. But that's tough. I really don't feel like any of those drivers behind him had time to react to that. I think it was ultimately Jameson that got him. It looked like Jameson was applying the brakes when it happened.
Now, talk about Glenn Jameson. He was really impressive during practice. He was our fastest practicer. Put in a 29.3. That's a really good run, of course. John Hine, who I announce with sometimes, he likes to call the practice chart the ego sheet. Doesn't mean a heck of a lot, but it does give you some confidence. Of course, being fast at practice and being fast at, lap number 59 and 60, two different things.
Yeah, definitely, and that's John knows it, and it's something that a lot of these drivers, I think, have to adjust to, especially when you come to a league setting, is the practice sheets can absolutely be deceiving. I've had my butt kicked many times by somebody that wouldn't be better than 10th place on the practice sheets. So it's it's something you got to pay attention to. Some drivers can really lay down a lap, and other drivers are able to have really good race pace and be able to carry it throughout the race and be able to make those moves, and that's ultimately when it counts.
Got to check a little bit there of rookie Devin Visna. On the backstreet, he drove up alongside of Stout on the outside, trying maybe to get Stout to take that inside line. Teapot was having none of it. Put the gas, pulled away, moved up top. That's going to put the 23 down low.
Actually, I just heard him call it, so I think Stout saw what was going on, and Stout wants to show that he can indeed make that inside line work. So it's going to be an interesting restart soon.
Oh, a little bit of a. I think Visna may have implanted that into Stout's brain there and subconsciously got him to go low. So that'll be fun. I don't think Stout has a whole lot to worry about if he doesn't lead here. As they come around working lap number 18, they'll be going green for the 18th lap. Buckley stuck on the inside, so who's in that good spot? Oh, Glenn Jameson, outside of row 2. That's where you want to be. Let's see what the rookie can do out there. He was fast during practice. If you got any good tires, use it up now for me, Glenn. Put the pressure on that number 12. Here we go. Working lap number 18 of 60. They go on the flag. They wait. The flagman is very slow this time. Now they go. Watch the 23 roll through 1 and 2 on the outside. Stout with a great drive into 1. Took it in really deep. Now Buckley working on Visna. They are side by Visna, getting very loose, but he keeps it going straight. And hey, granny hips. Josh Buckley's going to move from 4th into 2nd.
Yeah, big move there. And this is a place, obviously, we talked about it already. Buckley can get around this racetrack. So being forward this early in the race is great news for him. And meanwhile, you can see Jamison back here. He's still working over Andy Lewis, trying to get by him.
I try nothing if not to be accurate. Let me correct myself. Buckley going from 3rd to 2nd. He started inside of row 2. The battle now on the outside. That's Glenn Jamison, the rookie, working on pole sitter Lewis. Lewis, the inside, not working for him. Who's making time up top? That's the 26. The second in the points. That's Ethan, the Mountain Troutman. Watch out for him as he works the outside.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting right now. We see these drivers, they're not pushing too hard. We still have the side-by-side racing. They're giving each other a ton of room in the corners. As you can see here, almost fit another car in between them. So they're being very respectful right now, not pushing too hard, only about a third of the way through the race. So I do believe that some of these drivers are being conscious of the tire wear. They're taking care of those tires. We've had a lot of cautions. That's kept the tires nice and cool. But if we get a green flag the rest of the way, got to have good tire temperatures, good tire wear to be able to make some moves late.
Single file 1st through 4th. The battle is back here for 5th with Lewis on the inside. Troutman trying to make the top side work. Lewis gets the best of it now. He has 5th all to himself. Working down low, it's Bianchi. But wait a minute. Look up top. Here he comes. This is Devin Visna. Gets to the inside of Josh Buckley. Coming across the line, Buckley with the momentum up top. Across the line, Buckley will be there first. He'll get credit for being in 2nd on this lap. Let's see how this lap plays out. Diving it in deeper than Buddha's belly button is Visna. They come out of 2, and that deep dive makes it work. A little bit of a slide jump up in front of Buckley. 2nd place to the rookie.
Yeah, absolutely. We got 1 around on the backstretch. No caution right now, but that is Feeney that is spun down to the inside. He's going to lose a ton of position and try to rejoin safely here. But, yeah, big disadvantage for him. He was racing side-by-side with Brian Neff up off of turn 2. And hard to tell from that exactly, but Neff may have moved up on the backstretch into him. Not sure if that was intent to get a side draft or if it was just the 2 drivers moving into each other.
JR, one thing I'm watching which is surprising, let's look at the 21 of Aho and the 26 of Troutman. I actually saw Troutman giving a bump draft down the back straight. I guess that's something you can do. He got a good run, decided not to make it work, just basically shoved the 21 forward.
Yeah, absolutely. You can work together if you'll find somebody that's willing to do it. The bump draft will definitely increase the speed. Obviously, the car behind has a draft and has more speed coming in. If you hit that car in front, you're allowing him to go faster, and in return, you're still getting a little bit more of a draft down the final stretch of the straightaway there. So it's something you can do to make up lap time if you work together, but you really got to do that when you got an opening in front of that car that you're pushing. That way you can make up time on the pack ahead.
And it works for Troutman as he pushes Aho down inside now, as he's going to try to get the spot on Benedict. Pair of rookies with Benedict and Troutman in the battle there. Watch out for the 17. Chad Alcaraz, he's got 2 wins this season. He'd like to get 1 more. The battle continues. Boy, you go down low, you can get underneath them. It's just the drive. It looks like the drive off the corner is just not there for the inside line.
Yeah, and it really comes down to the center of the corner. So the car gets really tight, especially at the very bottom of the track where the banking is the least. It gets really tight, and you just can't get back to the throttle. You keep having to hesitate, which in return kills your momentum. And that driver on the top side, he's got momentum because he was able to get back to that throttle faster. And that's just what hurts so bad for that driver down the inside. We see Aho, he's continuing to try to work over Bill Benedict. Not quite got it done. He may have it as they come off a 2 here.
JR, if I get on the throttle and the rear end starts to come around and I got to feather it a bit, am I doing it right, or should it just be a nice, smooth? Am I going slower because I have to feather it, or do I need to wait until I can actually get on it?
Yeah, there's multiple ways to do it. So definitely at the end of the day, you don't want to slip the tire. So if you're slipping the tire, you're probably going to be losing some lap time, and you're going to be losing momentum down the straightaway. So you definitely want to ease into that throttle as much as possible. But at some point, you got to find the limit, like you said. So you've got to be able to apply that throttle until you feel the tires start to slip, that rear end start to move around a little bit. That's when you know where the limit is. You register it in your mind, and then you do exactly what I said, where you get back to the throttle a little bit easier.
Well, I think a guy who has figured out the limit is Season 10 champ Jeff Aho. He is now up into 5th. He started in 7th, but fell way back. He's picking him off. Remember, it wasn't long ago that I said he was right behind Troutman. Well, Troutman is long gone. He's left him behind. Troutman has his own. Let's look back at Troutman right now. Here comes Alcaraz. Back in the popcorn position. That's the 71. Fred Leclerc. Not missing anything up front. The racing is back here.
Yeah, these guys, they're putting on a great show back here. And like I said earlier, they're being very respectful to one another. You can see Andy Lewis, he wanted to move up in front of Bill there on corner exit, but knew it was not best to do that. So these drivers are giving each other a lot of room, and it's producing some great racing on the screens here for us to watch. You mentioned Ethan earlier. He was helping Aho, but I think he ultimately was hoping that he could follow Aho through the field, but he just didn't get the same breaks. He's not been able to get by the two that have been side by side in front of him.
I'll say, we went green, I believe, at lap 18, so now we're looking at about 12, 13, 14 laps of green flag. How long do you have on these tires before you start to feel them not working as well for you?
Yeah, a place like this, you've probably got 10 laps and you start to notice a difference. And the big difference is the speed that these drivers are carrying on corner entry and even through the center of the corner here in these Tour Modifieds. They're carrying a ton of speed. These cars have a ton of grip, a ton of downforce, and that puts pressure on those front tires, specifically that right front tire, and really drives it down into the racing surface. And in return, your tire temps go way up. So about the time you get to about 280 degrees of tire temp, you start to lose some grip, and I guarantee you that these drivers are well beyond that right now.
We ride on board with Troutman, and he's looking ahead at a fun battle. We may need to go there live. This is Buckley on the outside, rookie Glenn Jameson on the inside. Now, making a stab on Jameson just a couple laps ago was Aho. It didn't work. He backed up. It looks like the rookie of Jameson is going to get that spot. Buckley going to fight back on the outside. Let's see how long they can stay side by side.
Yeah, and this is something I've seen a little bit. So these drivers are still side by side. Jameson wants it bad. You can see how hard both of these drivers are pushing. Look like Buckley getting a little bit loose on corner exit, but he wants to stay on the outside. Jameson continuing to try to move him up just a little bit in the corner. But I've seen this before, so Jameson didn't look like he was in too big of a hurry a few laps ago. But once Aho got there, he's like, I got to go. So I think Jameson may have been one of the few drivers up front that was really taking care of their stuff, just riding. But now he knows he's got to go because he's got Jeff Aho applying pressure.
Are you on a timer when you get side by side? Do you go underneath him? You have a couple laps to get it done before you run out of tire? Or oh my goodness, a little bit of up there from Buckley. Great save from Jameson.
Yeah, these drivers, it's starting to ramp up. So we're past halfway. These guys know that they've got to get themselves in a decent position. We see Troutman making a big move down the straightaway as well in the turn 3 underneath Bill Benedict. These drivers, they want to get into a better position. So any tire wear that they have, and Aho gets a little off of turn 4 there, but any tire wear they have, they're using it right now because they want to be as far up front as they can be in case we get a caution. That would be the best chance for them to be able to move forward at the very front.
I'm not driving, but you can just see the difference from watching the way they go. Now here comes the 21 of Aho underneath Lewis. This is a fun battle. Lewis just got him. Now Aho fighting back in the popcorn position. That is Troutman. Remember Troutman? He was behind Aho. He got left behind. Well, Ethan the Mountain Troutman has worked his way back up there. And look at this. Now he goes to the outside of Aho and see if that works.
Yeah, and this is the magic of the tour mods at this racetrack. So you will see separation of these cars. One pack will pull away from the other, but the way that they draft and the way that you're able to run side by side will close this pack back up. And you can see up front, Stout has lost ground to Devin Visnaw. So Visnaw is really working him over. Be interesting to see if Stout's got anything left in the tank to try to pull away.
Yeah, Visnaw just took a stab at it. It didn't work. This young rookie has been impressive. Driving, he's got a milkman on his car because one of the commentators said he was working both sides of the track like a jaywalking milkman. So he decided to put that on there. That saying came from my dad. To be honest with you, the milkman was not the profession that he told me when I was a young man. But I can't use the profession that he actually told me and still stay here. You can use your imagination.
Oh, and you can see back here in this pack. I don't know where to go with that, Sue. But
Move along.
Well, we'll look back here in this pack. So you can see a separation between the top two drivers and this next pack. These guys, they realized that running side by side was really starting to heat their stuff up. They needed to cool it down for a few laps. So they're back to working together, drafting each other, and it works similar to a super speedway in these modifieds. If everybody gets settled down and in line, you can chase down those two cars up front. And that's what they want to do right now. In return, Eric Stout and Devin Visnaw, they've decided it's best if they stay in line and don't race each other, because as long as they keep this type of a gap, it's going to be between them for the race win.
Remember, we're only going 60 laps, so we are 2/3 of the way through. Andy Lewis did not get the memo there as he tries to go to the inside. Buckley now to the inside of Jamison. Boy, this is great racing going on back here for 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. Who's joining the party? The number 90. We haven't heard much from Bill Benedict. He's back in there.
Yeah, and you can see these drivers, they're starting to push harder. When you're down on the bottom, they're starting to enter just a little bit lower. There's less grip down there, but you're trying to make that corner as short as possible. But in return, they're sliding up into that car that's on the outside of them. Buckley doing a fantastic job here. I think he's going to be able to clear. He almost had Jamison there. He does. He clears him off of turn 2. I wasn't sure he was going to be able to get there, but in return, Jamison is crossing him over and going back under, because right now these drivers, they've decided not to play calm. They're taking every run that they get on each other.
You're saying, but it's only for 3rd, but everyone wants to be on the post-race show and do an interview with Soup and JR. And right now, that's what they're fighting for. Buckley in the talkative position right now. Oh my goodness, that was the 21 of Aho, almost got in the back of Lewis. On the outside, here comes Troutman. Hey, back up front, there's a battle for the lead. He gets to the inside. Let's see if he can, oh, good run out of 3, through 4. Can he hold on to it, slide up in front of him? He does not. Leaves the momentum for Stout if he wants it. He didn't close the door, but he does lead a lap. Let's see if he can finish it through 1 and 2. We're talking about the rookie, Devin Visnaw.
Yeah, and this battle is why everybody started racing each other harder back in the pack. Visnaw, I think, is going to clear him off of turn 2. Stout's going to take that run and dive back to the inside, but the drivers in 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, they all saw this happening. They started heating that battle up, because if something happens up here, they get the chance to race for the win.
Stout, so good on corner entry, took it in so deep. Does the crossover, got underneath and was able to get it back easy, speasy, lemon squeezy for Teacup. Now, Teapot, sorry. Now working underneath is Visna again. This is a good battle. But all that nonsense, all that horseplay, all that hoopla has allowed Joshua Buckley to close the gap. He's within shouting distance. He's a long putt away from 2nd.
Yeah, and that's what the two up front, I know they're racing each other hard. Both of them have the speed to win, but when they get side by side, that draft from the drivers behind increases, and the time that those drivers are losing up front running side by side through the corners is hurting them enough that Buckley and the rest are gaining ground. They've gained about a second on those leaders right now, and they're continuing to close in. So the top two, they've got to figure out, are they going to fight hard, or are they going to try to work together? Oh, and Buckley goes around in turn 3.
Oh, and they gather up all the guys who are behind him, but they do a good job of spreading out and getting around. Somehow everyone makes it through except for Granny Hips, who goes up in the wall. What a great job. There was a hornet's nest. You would figure that the whole bunch of bees would get caught up in it, but no. The swarm fades, they span out, and they all get around. Nice driving from everybody. Too bad for Josh Buckley.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate for Josh. He was having a great run, clearly had speed at this racetrack, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was just him and Jameson going for the same spot. Buckley may not have known that Jameson was making a move to the inside on corner entry there, and that's ultimately what led to that contact. But like you said, Sue, great job by all these other drivers to not destroy the race cars. It does look like Jameson got some damage out of it, and I believe one of the other cars, maybe an Andy Lewis, they had to go up the track, but everybody remains with a car that they can continue on with.
Okay, we are lap 48. We have a caution. We saw how hard those guys were struggling early on, or late there in that run, and we take a look, and we cannot find Teapot. Did he pit?
Yeah, Stout is on pit road. He was one of the drivers that came down, and you can see pit road right there. There are a number of drivers, and I do believe that tires will mean something, but we've got to see how many drivers stayed out on track. I believe it's going to be somewhere around 6 drivers that have stayed on track. Yep, so the question is going to be, how quickly can Stout and the rest of these guys that pitted get by those 5 drivers ahead of them so that they can race for the lead, because Visnoff stayed out, and it's very likely that he could pull away from these guys on a restart.
I'll be honest with you, I just did not, and I love the strategy, I just not see anybody up front make a stop. But even the guys, Jameson stays out, Troutman stays out, Aho. Neff stays out, and Bianchi. But Bianchi and Neff were way in the back, so I can see them picking up trap position. The guys up in front as they start to double up. Aho, Troutman, Jameson, and your leader, Visna. They were racing up front. They were the guys that were involved in that incident where Buckley spun and they got out of the way. So now, here we go. How much will their tires cool off, JR, from what they were? Do they have a little benefit here as we're about to go green?
They're definitely going to have more grip here. The tires are going to cool off, but they won't be 100% like a fresh set of tires. So it does look like they've added an extra lap here to the caution. But yeah, the drivers up front will have some more grip. That grip's going to go away quicker. It'll probably be 3, maybe 4 laps that they can get out of before it falls off. And we're going to come to the green, I guess, at 10 to go. So they don't have a whole lot of laps to deal with here. And I look back behind Visnoff, I see Troutman there, and we know that he's up there in points. He's trying to chase Stout down in points. I really feel like he did a good decision here because he had not been in front of Stout at any point in this race. This was his opportunity to get in front of him, and we know how restarts can go in this series. Things get wild, especially at the end of the race, so this could be a big opportunity for Troutman staying out here.
You like rookies? Well, we got a bunch of them up front. Rookie, Devin Visna, your leader. He's going to choose as he weaves back and forth. Has he made his decision yet? I guess not. Will he go inside or outside? It'll depend for rookie Glenn Jameson, fastest in practice. Looks like Jameson is going to be in the outside of row 1. Jameson trying to get up there suggests the racing line for Visna. Looks like Visna's going to stay down low. How about the guy on the inside back there, Ethan Troutman, another rookie? You want a veteran? Season 10 champion, Jeff Aho. Your points leader inside of row, not 1, not 2, not 3, row 4. Pace car is in. We go green. Oh, don't go too early. They wait. They got to be careful, which is going to give a little bit of a roll and momentum to Visna. Oh my God, they get in the wall. That's going to push the guy on the outside, hits the wall very hard. Jameson keeps us right. Boy, he is fuming right now on tilt. He gets bound behind Bianchi. They get it sorted out.
Oh, Oh, there is 3 wide action down the back stretch. A couple of rows that were 3 wide. These drivers are trying to figure it out. Stout's to the inside there of Brian Neff, trying to make his way through, but Troutman's still in front of him. That's key for Troutman right now.
And meanwhile, all that nonsense has allowed Jeff Aho to take the lead. Season 10 champ out in front with clear track in front of him. The hot rookie of Visna behind him. The 14 of Bianchi. Bianchi started in second position, been racing up front the whole race. Then behind them in fourth, it's the 63, Jameson, who had a chance of the lead. Things did not go well on the restart. He settled it in fourth. The action is back there. It's the Stout watch. Here he comes as he goes to the inside now. He's got the 26 of Mountain Troutman to his outside. Stout moves his way up. Give him into 5th spot.
Yeah, Eric's making good moves through the field, but I'm really afraid that Aho is going to have enough of an advantage here that if Stout doesn't make some of these passes quickly, he's not going to have a good shot to race with him. But as I say that, he immediately goes by Jameson in turns 3 and 4.
Jameson gives hopes of the over-under, but that's not going to work. As Stout now begins to pull away. Between him and the lead, Bianchi and Visna. Cooling off his run a little bit is Jeff Aho. Aho's got to be careful because if Visna gets up them, Visna is not scared to mix it up a little bit. That could be the opportunity for the 12 of Stout to get there. Hey, let's look back. I thought it was all over for Jameson. He fights back. Well done, Glenn.
Yeah, and he's pushing Eric hard. We saw Eric get into the wall on corner exit, so Eric is having to use his tires up. Everything he's got, he's seen him get loose going into the corner. He's going to get up into the marbles and lose some grip there, and Troutman's going to be able to get to the inside of him.
Stout's done. We don't need to watch him anymore. Let's look up front. Here comes the rookie peeking underneath. Nothing there, just doing a little bit of reconnaissance racing on Jeff Aho. Aho comes out. Working now lap number 56 as they cross the line this time. It is Aho. It is Visna. It is Bianchi. Bianchi beginning to lose touch with the front 3. Trying to get into the mix is Jameson. Jameson now, he's already put away Stout. Stout says, I'm not done, Soup. I'm fighting back on the backstretch. Looking to get back into 4th.
Yeah, and that's the thing with drivers like Stout. When you rough them up a little bit, they get that extra motivation. They start to drive harder, but Jameson doing a fantastic job on those older tires, being able to hold him off so far up front. I think Visnall starting to get some pressure from Bianchi, so he's going to have to start running a little bit harder if he doesn't want to get past.
Bianchi with a really good tight run off of 4 last lap. Look for Bianchi to do it again this time. Maybe put some pressure on Visna, which would be the perfect thing that could happen to Jeff. Aho, out in front. He already has a win this season. It wasn't long ago. He picked it up 2 races ago. Looking to get one more now as he comes out of corner number 4, working lap number 58. Visna beginning to lose touch. Here comes Bianchi with a good run out of 4. Cannot get it done. He's going to look to the inside. Let's see if Visna closes the door. He does not. They are Ciela's bathtub through 1 and 2. Look at the 14. Definitely better as he clears Visna. Move Bianchi up into 2nd.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Jeff Aho needed, those two racing each other. Look at the lead that it gave Aho, and Visnall's not done. He's going to cross Bianchi over going into turn 3. So this is going to help Jeff Aho tremendously. And at the same time, Stout's not going to be able to get by.
Stout is done with Troutman. Now he comes up on the 2-wide battle up in front of him, which is going to slow him down. This is the best possible news that can happen to Jeff Aho as he pulls away. Now with a 12-car length lead on the guys battling for 2nd. The top line looks like the place to go. That's where Stout decides to go. He's going to follow Bianchi through. No, but don't give up on this. Rookie Devin Visna coming inside very, very tight. He's going to come up in front of Stout. No, he leaves him room.
Yeah, Stout's able to get there. We're on the last lap, so Stout may be able to get 3rd. Might have a shot at 2nd if he can clear Visna through here, but in the meantime, Jeff Aho has checked out. So all he has to do is have one more clean corner, and this race is his.
Through 3 and 4 for Aho, and he'll pick up his 2nd win and close the gap. Look at the battle a little farther back. We'll call Stout Aho as he comes across the line. Bianchi's going to get 2nd. The battle for 3rd. It's going to go to Teapot as he gets the best of the rookie Visna. Great racing. I think Stout needed maybe another 4 or 5 laps to make that work.
Yeah, it really just came down to that restart and the positions that he was not able to gain on the fresh rubber. Otherwise, he had the maneuverability to be able to come through the field, just not the time to get there.
You don't want to go anywhere because all these interviews coming up are going to be great, and especially when we talk to your points leader and ask him if he's second-guessing himself for making that pit stop. As he was out in front, he'll only finish in third. With that said, we'll take a short break. Don't go far. We'll come back, run down the entire order of the field, do those interviews, then put a lock on the gate. You're watching Virtual Grip Network. Welcome back to New Hampshire Motor Speedway and the Virtual Grip Network's live as it happens 12th round coverage of the Skitter Creek SK Modified Series Season 14, of course sanctioned by the good folks at the Red Light Racing League. The results are in. Let's give them to you now. We started with a full field of 21 drivers. Finishing on the lead lap was a whole bunch of them there as they go all the way down. Quite a lot of drivers. 17 finish on the lead lap. With that said, let's run down the entire order. Jeff Aho started in 7th, stayed out when others came in for a pit stop and was able to hold on to the lead as he comes home in first. Brian Bianchi will get second. Eric Stout made that late pit stop. It's kind of a darned if you do, darned if you don't type thing, because I think if he would have stayed out, everyone would have come in. He might have finished third anyway. 4th and 5th put on quite a show. The rookie Devin Visna and Ethan Troutman. Boy, there's some talent. Want to tune in for season 15. Those guys are only going to get better. Always there, Fred Leclerc. Didn't hear much from him. Started in 12th, cut that in half. He comes home in 6th. Brian Neff stayed out, picked up a whole bunch of track position, and hung on to 7th. 8th, 9th, and 10th for the rookie Glenn Jameson. He was exciting to watch. 9th is another rookie, Bill Benedict, and then veteran Brandon Feeney rounds out your top 10. JR?
Yeah, coming home in 11th place tonight, pole sitter Andrew Lewis. Chad Alcaraz, he'll come home in 12th. Josh Buckley, another driver that stayed in the top 3 for the majority of the race. He'll come home in 13th place. Kevin Alicia will come home in 14th. Bruce Pearson, 15th place tonight. Bob Higgins in 16th. Mike Tasheru will come home in 17th. Rob Higgins, 18th. Lewis Flowers, 19th. Bradley Steffen, he'll have an uncharacteristically bad finish tonight in 20th. And Chris Hazlett having that bad hit that we talked about on lap number 1. He'll finish in 21st place tonight.
Steffen notorious for finishing second. Tonight, he couldn't finish second, so he decided, I'll finish second to last. So, well done. All right, with that, let's go ahead and talk to our race winner, Season 10 champion, and a man who picks up his second season win on a roll now. We're talking about Jeff Aho. Jeff, here's my question for you. We're going to jump right to the end. If Stout decides to stay out, do you pit?
No. Because we're guaranteed to have a caution here. I knew it. We didn't actually at the end, but we had somebody in a 17 car had a whoopsie daisy which postponed it, which gave me a few more laps to pull ahead of Eric, who had tires. But to answer your question, no, I was definitely not taking tires tonight at all, because there's no way I'm going to pass 12 cars with 10 laps to go.
So then you were happy when you saw Teapot go ahead and make that pit. You thought, hey, this is going to make it a little easier.
I thought it was going to be easier if it stayed green, but I figured there might be a late race caution which would stack us back up again. I wasn't sure what Brian's situation was, if he had tires or not, when he exited early, and then I figured Eric would be tough as usual. So no, I'm happy with the move. I wasn't going to take tires at all. I was just going to deal with what I had, and if I got past and got second, that was it. I wasn't going to go all the way back to like 10th or something, or however it was going to finish, you know. It
was fun to watch you race. You were back there in a hornet's nest, and you had Troutman behind you there giving you a couple shoves every once in a while, and then you went through it. You just kind of cut your way through all that nonsense.
Yeah, it was actually really fun. Ethan is awesome to race with because he cuts you a lot of slack, but he's aggressive and he's fast at the same time. So it's fun when him and I are next to each other. I know that we're not going to mess anything up. But yeah, I had a blast cutting through, going high, going low, and trying to get past people. So yeah, you can pass at this track, but I overdid it. But I'm not one to save tires. I usually just spend them up and deal with it because I don't really believe in saving stuff. Saving stuff doesn't pass cars.
There you go. Hey, it's good to see you get the win, and I think maybe the well, I don't want to jinx you. I was going to say the good luck is coming. I pretend I didn't say that. We'll see you down the road.
Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it.
Jeff Aho, your winner, and he's came into this race third in the points. He gained on everybody he's chasing. JR, who you got?
I'm with second place finisher Brian. Hey man, congratulations first of all on that second place run, but you had speed the entire night, qualified well, ultimately finished well, but I gotta ask you, you had that spin at one point during the race. Did you get any damage from that, first of all, but how'd you get back up there, man?
Had damage. I got some of it fixed. Crew chief was telling me it was just aero damage, so I feel like it might have hurt me a little bit down the straightaways when I wasn't in the draft there mid-race. I felt like I couldn't catch up to the pack, but once I was in the draft, the car was fine.
All right, on the end of that race, we saw some surprises, some of those leaders coming down, getting tires. You decided to stay out. Did things play out the way that you thought it would, or did you get a little bit more out of it? Because I think you started a little bit further back on that restart.
Yeah, I think I started fifth. I don't know what happened on the restarts. It seemed like some cars got jumbled up, and Jeff and I were able to kind of get a couple of free positions, and then had a nice little battle there with Devin. Passed each other back and forth a couple times, but no, this Culpepper's Bakery Cafe car was pretty fast tonight.
All right, I got another question for you. You've missed some races this season in the Red Light Racing League. You plan on being with us next week?
Yeah, I hope so. I've had some equipment issues all season long. I think I finally got them straightened out on Tuesday for the iRock race, and everything went well. And tonight, no hiccups. So if everything's good, I'll be here next Thursday.
Great to hear. So I want to ask you this last question I got for you tonight. So next week, going to Five Flags. We got twin 50-lap races. What are your thoughts on that? The format's going to be a little bit different than what you guys are normally used to.
Yeah, I haven't been able to do one of those twin 50s or twin 75s like we did at Slinger with all my equipment issues, but should be fun. Five Flags are a great track. You can pass there. It's fast. So hopefully we get a good race and a couple good finishes.
All right, man. Hey, congratulations on that second place run. Maybe next week we get to do some more talking to you.
Hope so, JR.
All right, man. All right, guys. That was Brian Bianchi. He was our second place finisher here tonight. Soup, who do you got?
I got Teapot, Eric Stout, your points leader coming in. He'll be your points leader leaving. Eric, we could talk about this race all night long. I want to get right to the decision-making process and what goes on in your head when you do it. You're out in front. The yellow comes. Do you calculate how many cars you think are going to pit And when you came out and you were in 7th, was that where you thought? You thought be farther back, closer up? What did you think?
So I actually thought I was going to wind up farther back. I was fairly. I know that there were some cautions like early, but that seemed too early to be taking tires, and I just felt like with the extra set, a lot of guys were going to take them. But I also felt like if I'm the leader, if I pit, more cars will stay out, and if I don't pit, a bunch of cars are going to pit, and then I'd be at a real disadvantage.
That's why I think you were really in a bad situation either way. You're either going to be out there racing against good guys on fresh tires, or you're going to have to try to run down good guys from farther back. Tough call.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the catch-22, or I guess the blessing and curse of being in the lead, is that you have that luxury of the track position. Typically, I wouldn't sacrifice the track position, but with the tour modified, the tires tend to be too important. I was actually surprised on the restart that it wasn't a bigger advantage. I got by 1 or 2 guys maybe, like fairly quickly, and then I had a really tough time getting around Glenn. And actually, after I passed Glenn, going into turn 1, I went into the corner and the car just went straight, like it didn't turn. So that basically gave the spot back. So all the work that I did, I had to redo, slam the wall at one point coming out of turn 4. So that kind of, I think, cooked my goose for the win, but I knew I could still at least get past Glenn. I wasn't sure if I'd have enough time to get past anybody else. Luckily, Brian and Devin got to fighting, and I was able to kind of follow Brian through to be able to get the 3rd spot. So overall, I'd say a really good night. This is my hands down my favorite race on the calendar. I could do this every week. It's just super fun in this car, and I think Devin and I put on a pretty good show up front there for a little bit until the, I'll say, very untimely caution. Because one of the two of us was going to win. I felt like I would have been able to hold him off, but he was definitely fast. I knew he was fast in practice, and I figured the NASCAR guys, like the guys that race on Mondays, like Ethan and Bill and Devin, I knew that they'd be good here. They were good at Phoenix. I figured they'd be sort of better than normal here, except for Ethan. He's good everywhere. But I just, was hoping just to go green and have a chance to race it out with Devin there. And it wasn't the case, but pumped for my man, Jeff, to get a win. My buddy Jeff getting another win on the season, and Brian as well. He's had some issues this season. He hasn't been able to run full time, but he and I go, way back. We've had a lot of good battles together. So it's nice to see the three of us on the podium. I wish that my teammates Andy and Josh would have had better outcomes. I think that caution hurt them as well, because they were both top 5 at the time of the caution. But I'll extend the lead just a little bit tonight, which I'm happy about, and then we roll off to 5 Flags next week for kind of that wild card 50-50 race.
Should be good. We'll be there. Thanks a lot. Good luck the rest of the way. All right.
Thanks, man. See ya.
Jeff Teapot Stout. No, I was going to be accused of Eric Teapot Stout. Jeff Aho, your race winner. With that said, let's go ahead and when are we going to do this again? We'll put the graphic up for you. Yeah, you can read right there. You can see when it's coming up. Some good tracks. Hey, you got to go to Kern. Daytona's always fun. Stafford, love that one. And then 5 Flags we talked about. All those races, plus future ones, past ones, all the production of the Virtual Grip Network. We hope you liked the broadcast tonight. If not, we'll try to do better next time. Until then, on behalf of all the little faces you see, have fun storming the castle.